Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 5.
Well, folks, beautiful weather out there today and clear skies. Got a cold front that moved through earlier on this morning, so some of that colder air is coming on in. We'll talk more about that, how chilly it gets, and when it warms back up coming up.
5 minors and 4 adults are facing capital murder charges following the death of a Rogers man last month. New tonight, the next steps for each suspect and when they're expected to appear before a judge again.
Is the final stretch for our lawmakers in Little Rock as the 95th legislative session is set to officially come to an end in a few days. Just ahead, what some of our lawmakers are expecting during the next 72 hours. Good evening, I'm Allison Wise.
And I'm Brandon Evans. Welcome to 4029 News at 5 o'clock. We're going to begin with breaking news tonight. Southern California jolted by a strong earthquake near San Diego. The earthquake had a preliminary magnitude 5.2. This is according to the U.S. Geological Surveys. You can see the shaking of that room right there. So the San Diego County Sheriff's Department said it received no immediate reports of damage or injuries. That's the good news. Of course, we'll continue to track the latest developments tonight as more information is expected to be released.
And with that, let's talk about what we are expecting in our work week for our weather forecast. The clouds have definitely lingered all day. Darby is here tracking a front that will move in and cool us down.
Yeah, definitely cooler today, Darby, versus what we saw yesterday. Tomorrow morning, people might need a jacket.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a good idea. I mean, we're already noticing the cooler temperatures even this afternoon, early evening, I guess at this point. About 5 to 15 degrees cooler than this same time yesterday. Now, you know, that translates to temperatures still in the 70s in most locations, but those 60s starting to filter in from the north. That front pushed through earlier today. So it is going to be a little bit cooler by tomorrow morning in the River Valley. This evening still looks pretty good in the River Valley, so no worries there. But waking up in the upper 40s by tomorrow afternoon, low 70s. So yeah, definitely a cooler day, but a ton of sunshine and just can't complain much about it at all, can we? With those warm temperatures still there. Northwest Arkansas waking up upper 30s to around 40. Our temperatures drop a little bit faster this evening too. Highs tomorrow though, Brandon and Allison, back in the mid 60s with sunshine. Pretty good day. We'll talk more about what to expect when the pattern gets more active later in the week. That's coming up.
Well, it's crunch time for our lawmakers in Little Rock as the 95th legislative session set to unofficially come to an end in just a few days.
Brett Rains is live in Little Rock at the Capitol with what some of our lawmakers are expecting to happen over the next 72 hours.
Well, more than 500 bills have already been signed into law this legislative session. Now, today, legislators here in Little Rock are considering hundreds more bills, and it could be a long night for members of the State House of Representatives. Now, the Arkansas Senate convened this morning at 10:30, and after hearing more than 100 bills, they just wrapped up their business for today. Now, over in the State House, they convened this afternoon. Representatives are finishing up presenting their bills and trying to get them passed and sent to the Senate. They're also considering all the Senate bills that are being heard on the House floor. In total, the House is also voting on more than 100 bills, and lawmakers we talked to say it will take several hours to hear all of them.
January feels like 3 years ago. The session has definitely been one to remember. Lots of late nights for all committees. I feel like broadly the legislature has been working hard to get things right.
We started earlier this morning. I'm assuming we'll be here till late this evening, but it's all been worth it. We are down here working for you. Regardless of what part of the state you're in, regardless of who your representative is, each one has a heart for the people they represent.
By and large, the last thing to do is to pass that Revenue Stabilization Act, get the budget set, and we'll get out of here.
Now, the legislative session is set to wrap up on Wednesday, but lawmakers could return to Little Rock if there's any last-minute issues that need to be addressed. Now, coming up tonight at 6, some legislation that Representatives Rose and Richardson say they're proud of. Live in Little Rock, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
And a bill that intends to create an income tax credit for relocating corporate headquarters to Arkansas now heads to the governor's desk to be signed into law. Earlier today, Senate bill, well, they passed it with 22 yeas and 13 nays. Of course, you can stay up to date with the latest developments on all your local legislation. Just download the free 4029 News app.
9 people accused of being involved in a deadly Rogers shooting in March appeared in court today.
4029's Jacob Murphy was in the courtroom and tells us about what happens next in the case.
Out of the 9, 5 are teenagers and 4 are adults, each of them behind bars facing charges related to capital murder. Today, 9 of them appeared in court via Zoom, 7 of them pleading not guilty.
Now we've had a series of cases in the county where it goes beyond just something's going on with a juvenile possessing a handgun.
In early March, 41-year-old Andreas Fonseca was shot and killed in Rogers. 10 people are behind bars facing charges relating to the shooting. 9 facing charges related to capital murder, including 5 teenagers.
We've got actual criminal activity involving handguns.
Benton County Prosecuting Attorney Brian Sexton says teens with guns is becoming a common theme for his office, which led to the decision to charge the teenagers as adults and to pursue prosecution.
The problem that I'm running into is the crimes are serious enough where we have to make the decision to file adult.
All 9 that were in court today are scheduled to be back in court on May 27th. A 10th suspect that is not facing any capital murder charges will be in court next Monday. In Bentonville, Jacob Murphy, 4029 News.
2 people were killed, 9 others injured in a shooting Sunday night. That occurred in Conway, just north of Little Rock. Those who were injured were taken to the hospital. Authorities have not released details on what led to that shooting or anything on potential suspects, but they say they're investigating, and we hope to bring you details as we learn more. A Bella Vista teen charged in the death of his 4-month-old baby is set to appear in court tomorrow. Bryce Anderson's facing first-degree murder and first-degree domestic battery charges. Court records show Anderson told authorities the baby became limp while he was feeding him a bottle. Medical staff told police that the injuries looked to be non-accidental trauma consistent with shaken baby syndrome. Today, Jamie Leon Speaks pleaded guilty to a second-degree sexual assault that involves a minor under 14, and he was sentenced to 18 years with 12 years suspended at the Arkansas Department of Corrections. Speaks will also have to register as a sex offender. According to documents, the victim accused him of abusing them when they were younger than 14. A man who works for the St. Joseph Catholic Church in Taneytown was arrested last week on suspicion of distributing, possessing, or viewing sexually explicit content involving a child. According to Little Rock, a Scouten there, Paul Scouten, is alleged to have images of child sexual abuse on his phone. Authorities have investigated his work computer for more explicit content. He was booked into the Washington County Detention Center with a $25,000 bond. The Diocese of Little Rock says Scouten has been put on administrative leave and will not be allowed back on the grounds. State Police has asked anyone with information to contact them at the number on your screen.
Well, tomorrow's the tax deadline for most filers, and if you still haven't done it, well, don't let paying your tax prep hold you back. So whether you're getting them done today or tomorrow, if you haven't filed for an extension, you have a bit more time, you may be eligible to file for free and get free assistance as well. So the IRS Free File Program, it's one option. The key here is to start at irs.gov, not a search engine.
We've had lots of situations over the years where people will put it into a search engine free file or free tax preparation, and they will go to a reputable company. But at the end of that, there's usually some surprise of, hey, you've got to pay a $30 filing fee or this fee or that fee.
Applying for an extension to give yourself more time is also free and easy through the IRS Free File Program. But if you owe taxes, you'll want to make an estimated payment now. That way you can avoid interest and fees. Governor Sarah Sanders signed an executive order pushing the tax deadline for state income taxes from April 15th to July 31st for people who need more time following the recent storms this month in our area. This impacts several counties, including Crawford, Sebastian, Scott, and Franklin counties. This does not impact Benton and Washington counties. Also, the fee will be waived if you need to get a duplicate driver's license, instruction permit, or ID card, but you must live in one of the impacted counties. Now, if you're filing a federal Form 1040, penalty? Well, the IRS announced today that due to those recent storms, all Arkansans now have until November 3rd of this year to file those federal taxes, or if you have to pay it on your taxes, you also have until November 3rd to do so without penalty. And speaking of those recent storms, Waldron School Superintendent says that due to the amount of cleanup that's still needed, middle school students still heading to the classroom off campus based on the district's emergency action plan. However, elementary school students did return to the Waldron campus today. We just wanted to remind you, though, that got a little more than 3 weeks to get that real ID. The deadline set for May 7th. Travelers 18 and older will have to present a real ID compliant identification to board a domestic flight. Several places in our viewing area, right there on your screens, you can get that real ID ahead of the deadline.
As we take a live look at our nation's capital, President Trump made a tariff exemption for tech products over the weekend. The stock market has entered another confusing week. Investors are trying to make sense of the economy, and the White House is focusing on semiconductors used to make everything from smartphones to cars. President Trump's top economic advisor this morning signaling it goes just beyond just trade.
The U.S. is right to protect America by putting tariff on things that affect national security.
According to the Census Bureau, those currently exempted tech products accounted for about $100 billion, or 23% of U.S. imports from China last year. The Trump administration says one of their overall goals is to boost manufacturing in the U.S.
We are watching Wall Street and how President Trump's tariffs are impacting the market. The closing bell sounded a couple hours ago, and here's how the day went. Take a look at your screen. Dow Jones up 312 points today. The NASDAQ also up 107 points. And it was all green, with the S&P as well up 42. Same green takeover when we look at our local stocks of interest. Walmart up $1.93, Tyson Foods up $1.03, and J.B. Hunt was up nearly $5 a share. Green wave continuing for other statewide stocks. ArcBest, Dillard's, and Murphy USA all up on the day.
And we'll get to this. The Pennsylvania governor's mansion on fire over the weekend. Coming up tonight, the suspects behind bars. Investigators are putting together a possible motive. From eggs to milk, even canned food. We've all been trained to live by food expiration dates, but those dates aren't what you think. We clear it up coming after the break.